Welcome to the Collaboration Station, episode 41. This is our X-Creator Meetup, which happens every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And we bring up a new topic every week that we discuss and get into that's a little bit of a, let's say, advanced or experienced content creator topic that should spur some lively discussion. I'm Kate Bly, your host, and I'm a website designer and freelance photographer. I also have up on stage with me my co-hosts, Christopher Friant and Rich Silver, who will introduce themselves here in a moment. I want to take a second to welcome everyone to the live conversation. You can also listen to this as a recording on Spotify or Apple Podcasts in the Collaboration Station podcast. So you just search for that, should come up, and we'd love to have you follow, leave a review, and add those to your lists on your podcast app. And all right, so I think we've got everybody here situated. Welcome to everyone who's here already. You're invited to, of course, request a mic. Here at the beginning, no pressure to speak. It's usually just to kind of get the word out. If you could give the space a like, a repost, and drop a comment down below, or request a mic and or all, and we'll get the space started. Okay, so I'm going to first introduce our co-hosts here. Rich, why don't you go ahead first, introduce yourself a little bit, and then share the poll. And then you can go right into Christopher, who's going to reveal the new game. So a new game for the space. So everyone who's here now gets a little bit of a heads up start on the game before anyone else comes in later. So go ahead, Rich, and welcome everyone. Okay, I'm done rambling.
Oh, you can keep rambling. I'm still making poll. No, it's okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the space. I see we got KSJ down there. We got Famous, and we got a lot of listeners. We're going to fill up this space. If everybody please just repost, request Mike, come up and chat with us. My name is Rich Silver. I share a lot of AI art and music videos and other creative projects that I work on just kind of spontaneously. I'm into precious metals. I admin a precious metals community, which is spotlighted, on my profile. So please, come check that out. And I am excited for the space. I will have this poll posted just in a moment. So if we can go to Christopher first, and then if you want to throw it back to me, I promise I will be ready.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Friant. I've been a 2D, 3D digital artist for 26 years now, and I'm also an AI filmmaker. And so this is the 41st episode. So to commemorate that, we're going to be playing clips from other episodes, and that's going to be the entire show. We've all agreed on this. This is definitely a thing that's going to happen, and nobody can get out of it. I'm kidding. Okay, so the real thing is we're doing bingo. Collaboration Station bingo. So we set up a bunch of, there's an interactive thing you can click on the link in the projectotron above and go ahead and fill in that projectotron space in there, because that's one of the things that we put in there. So there's a whole bunch of things that happen damn near every space, like thirsty Europeans and unintelligible speakers like myself. So if you want to follow along and fill that out, and if you win, definitely post it in the replies below. And Kate, there's going to be a prize for that. Is that correct? Whoever gets it first?
Yes. So whoever claims the bingo card first, and we'll need to have, I think, a screenshot to verify that in the replies. And that will be the timestamp. And the person who is first to get their bingo card filled out, if it happens, I don't know. We could maybe go through the whole space without someone winning, but they do, I will pin a post of theirs in the community on Monday, which will get reached to all the community members. They'll get a notification for that. And it can be whatever post you want to do, but you got to post it in the community on Monday and I'll pin it for you. And that's like the prize. So you'll want to play. It'll be a lot of fun. And so you can find the link to join along on that game up above. And then I see Rich also has the poll ready. So we'll throw it back to Rich.
I do. Yes. So the space is about, the title of the space is You Don't Need Social Media. So I decided I'd make the poll kind of related to that. So the question is, you leave social media, now what? Your options are 1, I join a cult. 2, I start writing letters to myself. 3, I crawl back in a week. or 4, leave your response in the comments. And so I'm excited to see what people say.
I'm going to say this again. As much as I love Christopher to death, and I really think he's my life partner, and we're going to journey into the future together hand in hand. I mean, Rich, your polls lately, when you get the opportunity to do them, you really impress me. I love this poll so much. Again, when you do such a good job, it really stands out. And
well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
What if our relationship is like a pole-based relationship? You don't know. You don't know what the future's going to bring.
Well, I was very impressed with the bingo idea, to be honest. So that was really great and gave us some good laughs before the show today. And I hope that everyone does enjoy playing along with that. And I did have my bingo card up, but now I misplaced it. So yeah, I'm going to have to figure out how to get that back up here in a second. But, did I reveal the hosts? The hosts have a different bingo card. We're playing a different bingo card, and that will remain a mystery. But if anyone co-hosts with me, perhaps we'll share that bingo card with you. I don't know.
It's very similar, but there are certain things that we've censored.
Yes, because we love our audience, and we don't want anyone to think other than that. And our regulars and everyone who joins us. No, it's just a fun, lighthearted game. And yeah, so let's get into this topic quickly, pivoting away from my own grave that I just dug. Okay, so you don't need social media. We were talking today a little bit in the chat about how sometimes people can kind of put all in on social media, and which, isn't a good or a bad idea. I just think I'm kind of indifferent about that idea, but then also kind of disregard how it can be leveraged in real life, or maybe putting too much in it. We've seen a lot of turmoil on X as far as the monetization programs and other things, that as creators we have some issues with. And when we just kind of don't have other options, it feels a little bit hopeless, right? So we kind of want to maybe have a little bit of diversification. Doesn't mean in real life all the time. It can mean other things online as well. I talk about websites, newsletters, this kind of stuff, multi-platform, and putting your stuff out there in different ways. So that's kind of the inspiration for the topic. I'd love to know what people's experiences with this idea, or what this title kind of brings to mind and spurs in your brain. For me, that's what it kind of does for me. And I also want to just let everyone know you have the opportunity to come up and share anything that you've created recently that you want to share with the space. And or if you have a project coming up and you're excited about it, this is the kind of place that you can talk about some of the content you have upcoming or have put out recently. And so we can get to know each other better. This is also the Collaboration Station, a networking community for others to get together and create content together. But in order to really do that, we have to get to know you. And one of the best ways to do that is to just share some piece of content that you are excited about. So you're welcome to come up and share any of those things about the topic, or if you have something you want to talk about or introduce yourself to this group. We've got some great people down there listening who would be wonderful to have interact with the content. It's just great to see you all. Thanks so much for joining us. So Christopher, your hand shot up. I'd love to hear what you have to think about the topic.
So I think the question as to whether or not you need social media is heavily dependent on what you do or what you're trying to do. You don't need social media if you're a doctor or an engineer or a cop, right? You get notoriety by doing the work in those instances. But I think, with certain things, certainly with the things that I do, it's never going to get out there if I don't put it on social media, and it has been working. But yeah, I could network with people in real life, but I have to be in those areas where there are a lot of people. So basically LA, which is not a place that I want to go ever, but probably will eventually. So yeah, it really depends on what you do and whether or not that translates well to social media. And if it does, it probably, any headway you're going to make is going to be on social media, whether it's here or some other platform.
Okay, interesting. And I'm going to go ahead to the hands in a second here, but I do want to hear, Rich, your opinions or thoughts on this when we started talking about it. Like, what came to mind for you?
The first thing that came to mind was, well, I'm so addicted to social media, I don't even want to talk about this. No, I love social media. Right? Let's just avoid this topic. No, like, it's like Christopher said, it is a necessity for some people, depending on their job or what their goal is. Like, if you want to reach people, social media is the way to do it. But do you need it? Like, do you need it to succeed in life? Do you need it to live? No, like, I don't think so. I think you can have a very happy, successful life without social media. But yeah, it just totally depends on your goals, what you're using it for. Also, like, well, I was going to say maybe it helps you stay connected to your family because, like, some of those other platforms are more family centric. But we also can kind of just call them and text them for that. But social media is a little better because then you can kind of share photos and videos and kind of like stalk somebody's timeline a little bit to catch up, kind of see what they've been up to for the past few weeks or whatever.
Yeah, if you're stalking, you're screwed. Like, what are you supposed to do? You're going to go outside all the time? I guess you could.
You're out of work.
Eventually, you're going to get there, but you got to work your way up.
I mean, you're going to have to go back to peeping through windows, I guess. I don't know.
That's old hat, right? That's like 50s stuff, right?
But yeah, those are my thoughts and ideas, and I'm excited to see what other people say.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, great insights. And I'm a firm believer that social media is not important at all. And I can get into why I think that if you are forcing yourself to be here, there's no need to do that. You can absolutely be successful, I think, in any industry, short of working for X. You don't need to, you can be successful, find success in other ways for sure. Having a presence, I think, just showing that you exist, maybe, so if someone happens to search for you on social media, you pop up. But yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on this. I'm here for because it's fun. I really like it a lot. And I made some great friends. So it's definitely a social aspect. And absolutely, Rich, the idea of connecting with like family and then also friends, like the work friends and stuff on, other platforms is definitely a real thing. And I find it super powerful for that. And, organizing the high school reunion and the group chat, like kind of stuff is always happening. Right? So I'm going to kind of hold my thoughts back. And, if it kind of dulls down later, maybe I'll get into what my thoughts on it more. But I want to get to the hands, and we've got Slimy up here. And I want to just say we collaborated on Elon's Alien Slime Pets profile photo. That was a collaboration between Slimy, Rich, and I to get that done. So you can check that out if you want to see. And that was also in Famous's 24-hour space, like a week and a half ago. It wasn't last one. It was the week before, I think. So I wanted to just mention that. It can be kind of little collaborations that are kind of fun. And, Rich and I just love AI, and I'm a whiz in Photoshop. I've been having fun with the JD Vance memes and stuff. So it was cool to do. So let's go to Slimy first, and then we'll go to Money. Slimy, how's it going?
Going good. I'm actually going to be doing a project for one of my friends. Her birthday's coming up, so I'm going to do her an edit if she ever responds. I tried to ask her, what do you want me to do it with? And I haven't gotten a response, so I'm just going to throw things together and hope for the best. My edits come out pretty good. My day has been very hectic because of my little dog, but she's had so many seizures today. It's not fun to watch either.
That's one that's on the poll, trauma dump.
Not the poll, the bingo card. Yeah, anyone new jumping in, you can get the bingo card up above in the Projectotron. You can check it out and play along.
Thank you.
Hold on, Slimy. So what was the trauma? What's going on with your dog? I could barely hear you.
She's having seizures today. She's had probably about I lost count a while ago. She's not doing, because we missed 2 doses of her seizure medicine, and you miss just a dose and it sets her off.
I'm sorry.
So now my pillow's wet. My whole bed's
wet. Well, that's too bad, but it's nice that the doggy has a nice family to, take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
Poor thing. But yeah, for as far as the edit goes for birthday present. So is this a person that you know, a friend of yours in real life, or is this an online
Here on
friend?
X.
Here on. Oh, cool. All right. So
The majority of my friends are on X. I don't have a lot of real life friends that care. And if I do, I just ruin my friendship with them by supporting Trump. So that's great too.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I'm like, okay then.
Yeah,
Bye.
are
We'll
they
see.
really your friends, depending on who you like in politics?
That kind of honestly relates to the topic because, if you're in a small town or in an environment where there's not a whole lot of diversity of thought, the social media will help you reach out and find people who kind of align with your thoughts and your ideologies.
So it's like a cult.
Sorta.
Yeah.
I have many friends here on X. Many, 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 many. Here.
Yeah, it's great because you can really meet people that you align on different values and stuff. I don't mind if people have different thoughts and values and things that motivate them, and opinions on things like that. That's not a deal breaker for me, but I get it if, I say something that they don't agree with, that might not be how they feel the same. They might not be the same as me. So yeah, it's an unfortunate thing, but what's great about X is we get a chance to meet so many different types of people. There's always going to be someone that you kind of connect with, gel with, and you don't have to be afraid to express your opinions because there's going to be someone else out there that will share those and you'll be able to vibe with. So that's one of the super
They
things.
also don't like that I'm fans of Elon, so that's another red flag.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Boy, it's kind of wild out there. One of the bingo card squares is me bringing up my mom, which is about to happen because I use her as a litmus test for like what's going on in the normie sphere, like not on social media. And she is fully aware of the attacks on the Cybertrucks, and she was like kind of rooting it on a little bit. And I said, well, I don't think, damaging a person's personal property is appropriate. And she was like,
dealership.
Yeah, well, she didn't know about that one. There was someone who has a Cybertruck in Massachusetts, apparently, that got graffitied and it was on the news. So I kind of talked her down off of that one because it makes me feel like the news made it seem like it was okay if she had that opinion about it.
Why would they do that?
Right?
What motive could they possibly have for doing that?
I don't know. It's really weird. Okay. Anyway, before we bring this place down into the terrible gutter, let's continue on and go to Money Miller, who I love when he jumps into space because he always amps up the room. So how you doing today, Money?
I am doing well, Kate. Shout out to you, Rich and Christopher. Retweet the space. Let's go, baby. Social media is an interesting one. I haven't been on anything outside of X in God knows how long. And it's funny because my wife keeps sending me stuff in IG. And I'm just like, honey, I don't look at Instagram. Like, just tell me about it. I haven't even logged in on Facebook in quite a while. The only one I get on anymore is here. And it's mostly for to your point, Kate, the engagement with people and like relationship development and just being able to talk to other like-minded individuals and getting to learn about other people and see what they're working on. That's kind of why, originally hopped on X for music promotion. And honestly, after my experience with distribution of music and streaming services and their payouts, letting my DistroKid subscription lapse. And I'm just not I'm sitting on 300 tracks at this point that I'm not pushing out to services because it doesn't pay. I had 120,000 listens last year and got paid $40, but I paid 120 for DistroKid. So it was, net negative. So I'm not going to do that anymore. So just hey, I'm just here to vibe, have a good time, make art, meet people, talk. And that's kind of what I get out of this, since it's, I work from home, corporate America, I don't really get a whole lot of human contact outside of work people. So that's ultimately what I get from an enjoyment perspective.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I came here with the intention of promoting my work and maybe getting clients and all this stuff. But it just turns out I'm just meeting some amazing people and having a great time and discovering new things and learning new things every day, and making connections and stuff. And so that for me is it's just the best. It's the best for that.
Absolutely. And then you start going on side quests.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. And I want to say, I'm sorry to hear about that net loss on the investment you kind of made into to distributing music. And, I've been thinking about this too, because a little bit with the AI music, because it's like, if I make a song, or Christopher makes a song, or Rich makes a song, and people might like it, might want to download it or something, is putting it on Spotify or these places even worth it?
What about Bandcamp? Maybe that's a better option.
Because I'm wondering if it's
Definitely
just
is.
sell it on your website, your own website for, 99 cents, and just have the MP3 available for people to download. Like, because are people actually finding things on these platforms?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm honestly not 100% sure. I've started to take, Chris, to your point, like Bandcamp and Beatport are kind of the direction I'm going, and just like leasing beats, because all my stuff for the most part is instrumental. So I've just started like, hey, I'm going to sell beats or like lease them to vocalists or artists who want to come out with songs, and just let it go that route, as opposed to trying to push everything out myself.
Oh, that's a great idea. So it becomes like, when they use it in their song, then you're credited in it for that. Or if they need, and then if they need something else, then they know who to go to. So you're that guy. That's cool. I like that angle.
Yep, exactly. Or doing like beat mastering or music mastering. I've got a couple people that have reached out to me that I've gotten paid jobs on for doing mastering.
Awesome. And that is like part of the whole networking and collaborating and meeting people on social media. It's like these little things trickle through, and Christopher is a perfect example for that. It's just like keeping consistent, putting out stuff, and then starts getting work and clients through that slowly, and then it builds momentum, and then becomes almost sustainable, I'd say, at this point, just from your social media account. Or would you say there's been other pieces to that?
I'm sorry, ask that question again.
Oh, that was for Christopher. About,
my bad.
No worries. Because I'm curious about if it's saying most of the work he's gotten is from his social media account, or if it's been from other things like referrals.
100%. Well, maybe a little bit from referrals, but all of that is stemming from social media. And every contract I've gotten has been through social media. Like, they got in contact with me first, did interviews with me, like added me to like their CPP, their creative partnership programs. These are AI companies, and yeah, they all did that, finding me through social media and me tagging them. So yeah, I don't think any of these relationships would exist outside of social media, because these people are all around the world, right? Like, and I'm in Phoenix, so like I don't see that working any other way.
Right, and that angle of getting work or people seeing you or getting noticed is because those companies want people to share their content or stuff that they make with their product. And so they want more buzz about it online, just because that ends up them selling more. So that's definitely, I think, one of the approaches that's probably more effective. And I want to welcome everybody who's popped in while we've been chatting. Welcome to the space, and we'll get to the hands here in a second. I just would love to invite everyone to the Projectotron up above. We do have Collaboration Station Bingo available for anyone who wants to play. You can find that up there. And the prize for winning, the first person to win and post their screenshot below in the replies of their winning bingo card, will get a post of their choice pinned in the community on Monday, and that'll get a notification sent out to everyone in the community, and hopefully we'll engage your post and get some extra reach for you on whatever it is you want to share. So, and have a little fun while you're listening. And then we also have up there the poll that Rich created, which I think is, I would say it's the second best poll we've ever had, because the first best poll we ever had was that one Rich did a month ago or so. So be sure you vote in that, and we'll discuss this topic more. All right. So next I had Famous in my phone. Welcome to the stage. How are you doing today?
Thanks very much, Kate, Christopher, Rich. I know everybody in here is slimy. Hello, everybody. I'm doing fine, thanks. I'm just about back to normal and getting ready. And Casey, getting ready for Wednesday's marathon. I'm doing well, thanks. I've had a wonderful time with family. My sister released a book. I went to a nice event with her, and hung out with her again today. The sister lives in another city, so we see each other once every 5 years or so. So that was cool. So I'm doing well. As for your question, you don't need social media? Well, you know what? I need social media. That's just me. I need social media because it's pretty much the center point of my life at this point, especially as you all would probably know, my weekly 24-hour marathon. That's the centerpiece of my whole life right now. I'm all in. So I am one of those weird anomalies who I need social media. I'm not shy to say it.
Yeah, awesome. No, I there's lots of reasons why I do need social media. And so, we like to get a little bit controversial in this space and get the discussion going and get people a little fired up.
Yeah.
But I love when the way you're using it. It's not just, you have an intention with it, which is what I think sometimes people miss on it. And it's definitely more enjoyable when you have like it compartmentalized into something. Like, so I use it for just entertainment and fun and doing these spaces and meeting new people where, you have your 24-hour space and that's how you connect with new people and just kind of get information, so it's just a way of consuming. I love it.
So I've been looking at the link for the bingo, and apparently everyone has the same board. It might be scrambled, but when one person clicks on it, everybody else's lights up. So I guess this is a collaborative effort, and if you get a bingo first, you gotta take that screenshot as fast as you can.
Hey, we learn as we go, right? Next week it'll be better.
Oh, interesting. We may have to do a honor system on the bingo. Oh, geez, I guess we should have tested it, huh?
No. This is Thunderdome. Just get it done.
I love it.
All right, yeah. Be ready with your screenshots. Famous, please go ahead. Did you have something else you wanted to add there?
Yeah, just that I'm really, I know you want to do. You want to stir up some conversation, but I'm very pro social media because I get my entertainment. I get learning. I've learned so much here. This is like a master's degree in everything. I meet interesting people from my friend Matt, who works on a farm, to world-class experts in neuropsychology. This is just amazing. This is such a treasure chest. And I answered your question about if I leave social media. My response to the poll is I'll be back in 5 minutes. That's about all I think I can handle if I ever decide I'm leaving social media. It won't be long. I know that. I know myself well enough now. The addictive properties have definitely done their job on me, but it's not just addictive in a negative way. It's addictive because of the selective way I use it. It's a win-win. It's all positives. Yeah. So I'll land with that. That's it. Thank you very much.
Famous.
Yes.
Famous. I am curious. Have you ever had a heavy presence on another social media platform, whether it be like all the way back to MySpace or, Facebook or any of the others, or is X your first?
No, I have had a heavy presence on another platform, and that informs my approach here. A lot of what I learned, I apply now because it's just in my DNA by this point. And by the way, thank you for that music, Rich. Thank you very, very much. Much appreciated, man.
You're welcome.
This is an old account. This dates back to some time ago when I was running several, and I had one big one that I think I got up to 155K followers, but I had no concept of what to do with it. All I was doing was chasing the numbers like everybody else. That was the whole thing. Just get a lot of numbers, but okay, you get a lot of numbers, and then what? There was nothing. It was just this futile exercise in chasing the numbers. Follow 1,000 people, then get rid of those who aren't following back, and follow another 1,000 people and get rid of those people. And it's like, and so the day, I was completely careless. Over time, I began to not care about it. So I was just sharing whatever I found. I was a curator. I wasn't creating anything. Well, I'd share a bit of my stuff, but I was a curator. So anything that I thought was cool, I'd share it along. And I kept getting copyright takedown notices, and I just ignored them and kept going. And eventually they just took the whole account down. And no, it's fine, Rich, because for about a millisecond, I kind of went, oh no. And then the rest of me just went, thank heavens. Because the sunk cost fallacy, if you've invested heavily in something, even if it's a loser, it's just because of all the effort and more money or time you've put into it, you want to keep going. And I was definitely caught in that loop. So that set me free. So okay, go away. And I didn't look at X again for years. So now coming back, it's with a whole different vibe. And I'm loving my experience here. So thanks. I'll land on that.
Awesome.
Well, that's
awesome.
Cool. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's so great. And, for me, one thing that I kind of did overlook when, thinking about do we need social media or not is, I live in a pretty rural area. So it's, even if I do go outside and like maybe go to the store, I might see like one other person, like the person working the register. So, if I want to be actually social and interact with other humans, it's very nice to just have it very conveniently here in my room where I can just jump on and chat with anybody. So, it's a cool aspect of it. And I'm very grateful for it many, many, many times over for people I've met here, including my co-hosts up here on stage. So thanks so much for sharing that, Famous. And be sure to be following Famous, folks, especially if you like spaces. His is a great space. He does Wednesdays, 24 hours. And you can get in there. And if you've never spoken in a space before, you can kind of just go in there and give it a try.
Hours.
Yeah, you have 24 hours to get the courage to to request the mic.
It's a great thing. Like if you are on X on Wednesday, anytime on Wednesday, you know that Famous has that space running. So you can always pop in on Wednesday and say hi to Famous. I love it. I love the concept.
Yeah, it's a super low pressure type situation. You can, like, if it really makes you nervous, you can just be sitting there and listening for as long as you want until it maybe dies down, then you just jump in.
Yep. And you'll find us there often, Rich and I, and sometimes Christopher will pop in, and it's definitely a more casual vibe for us. We're not, here we're like kind of in host mode, especially me. But, we have a little bit more fun when we're just hanging out in his space. Yeah, go ahead, Famous. You can respond, and then we'll get to Dory, I promise.
Okay, I'll do this quick, and we can move to Dory. Yeah, thank you. You guys are kind of touching on the intent behind it. It's intentionally low key. I just want it to be a welcoming space, and I make sure and interact with people and offer the microphone. Nobody's obliged to, but a lot of people, it's been the first space where they've spoken, which to me is almost an honor. It's like, good, thank you. If I've made you comfortable enough to come and talk, great. And some people have co-hosted for the first time there. I have an ongoing reliable co-host right there in Slimy. But some people, I've had some big people come in and co-host with me, and I've had some people. One person, it was the first time they'd ever spoken, and on a whim, I said, "Okay, wonderful, welcome." And we chatted a bit. I said, "You think you'd like to co-host?" And they said, "Oh my God, my first day talking, and I can co-host too." I said, "Sure, you can. Come on in." And they co-hosted with me for a while. So it's like a real low-key, just, I don't know, I don't have any words for it, but low-key, relaxed, hopefully warm and welcoming space is that's the vibe I work to put out there and to preserve. Okay, and I'll land on that. And hi, Dory.
I just want to say, Famous, you have got the most wonderful energy in your spaces. You're the most sincere, genuine person. One of the, there's not a lot on social media. The presence, everything. You're just such a genuine person, always willing to listen, always willing to hear other views, different views. And I've got a lot of respect. You really should host a space on how people should run spaces.
Oh, maybe down the line. I don't feel qualified to offer that yet. I'm still figuring out what I do and trying not to mess it up. By the way, who was just speaking? That's very nice. Thank you.
Sorry, it's Amber. I spoke to you the other day.
Oh, Amber, yes, you're in the UK.
My daughter's meeting that guy today.
Oh, wonderful! I haven't forgotten that. That's a lovely story.
It's the most beautiful story. She's meeting his friend's children today to see, and then he's tomorrow, Tuesday, meeting him. But he's messaged her as soon as she landed. He messaged her. So if you want anything, it's a lovely story, Kate.
Yes.
We're talking, circle of life.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Thanks for joining us. And I have your name written down. I can give you the mic.
Sorry.
No worries.
I should have put my hand up, but I just had to chip in there while it was fresh about Famous.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I couldn't help myself.
No, it's all right. That's fine. That's, of course, welcome. If anyone has something very quick and immediate, you can jump in. But I do like to go to the hands so that we can make sure everyone gets an opportunity to share. And I will swing it back to you. I wrote your name down in the order. So if you have more you want to share, I'd love to get to know you a little bit. So hang around if you can. So Dory, you're up. How are you doing today, Dory?
Hey, I want to help everyone win bingo. So do you want a trauma dump or the Z-list celebrity takes over the
we already got it.
space?
We already got trauma dump.
Oh, that's right.
Elon
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, I'll be the Z-list celebrity who takes over the space for a moment. No, I'm just kidding. Last time I was here, I talked with all of you, and particularly Kate, about my art and poetry, and she had suggested something maybe customizable. So I started talking to Grok, and I've been doing some market research with Grok. And to make a long story short, I purchased 2 domains the other day. I went through some names I threw at him, which I used to do with the local marketing team because my son's a global marketing director for the world's largest organic seed company. So I would throw it past them, but now I have Grok. So, the heck with the locals. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so I have 2 domains. I'm really excited about it. He's given me step-by-step instructions on what to do. And it won't be the poetry book specifically at first, but you were on the right track, Kate. Apparently these like these gift type things that would be, if I did art that was particular to be, a pregnancy, an upcoming wedding or a baby or, those kinds of life moments, right? Or even seasons, right? If I had things like that. And I've run across some people they don't let you choose what you want, but they are doing calendars and things. So Grok hooked me up with, because you have to have print on demand and yada, yada. So I have taken some steps and I'm really excited about it. I haven't been in very many spaces. I've been doing a lot of art because it's really been healing for me. I've had a really rough 3 years and the art has really reignited something in my heart and soul that I had lost. So anyway, you guys are great and you have helped me. And I can't wait till I'm at the next step when I can come back and share again. Thanks, you guys. You're all wonderful.
Great to bring that up. So, and if anybody's looking for a consultant, AI can help with that. And that's also on the bingo board. AI can help with that. So go ahead and add that.
Oh, wow. I did help people get their bingo cards full. Yay.
And you replace people with AI all in one swing.
Wow. No, really, Grok's been amazing, you guys. I felt really stupid asking the questions that I did at first, but I'm like, well, back in the day, you had to try to get survey.
We can't hear you.
Back to what Famous was talking about, I had a very strong presence on Facebook with my food truck, Peppered Cow. I had over 5,000 on my page, and I was invited to be part of Meta's small and medium business leadership group. And I actually was up for a few awards and they flew me to Washington, D.C. But the condition was I had to get a vaccine and I did. And then I got really sick. But anyway, I did make it to D.C. But I'm probably going to have to reunite a little bit with that crowd and I'm going to have to set up an Instagram. So I've got some work to do on some other social media platforms, but you guys are great. And I really love X. The people that I've met are really great. And of course you do meet some, we all have that in life, right? But I'm actually thinking about doing a little bit of inventory and doing our city is, well, we have some distinctions and we're one of the top 25 places to live in the United States with populations under 25,000. And we have these really cool little festivals in the summer. So I'm actually thinking about connecting that way and taking my things out to the marketplace also. So I'm done now. Thank you.
I love all this so much, Dory. And yeah, the thing is chatting with Grok, or if it's the new ChatGPT models or even the new Claude, all these LLMs are so good now that you can actually do some real deep conversations. You can use the voice mode if you want to, or you can just type it out and get to the nitty gritty of stuff. And it will go beyond these just like surface level basic responses that we, interpret it as just like, okay, I'm going to roll my eyes. And so it's getting really good and it's a lot of fun. So when you have an inkling of an idea or whatever, really getting into it and having a conversation where you can ask these questions like, okay, well, how would I actually even approach this from someone that has no experience in this? How do I do this? You go to the website for some app that you need to use. Like, how do I use this app? Like, it's just great. So I'm super excited for you, Dory, and I can't wait to hear it as it progresses and your plans unfurl and blossom and all that. So I want to say a couple things that came to mind. If you do like officially launch something, I hope you'll come to me so that we can have a space and we can talk about it, because I love doing little interviews. I did with Brian.
Oh, thank you, Kate.
Yeah, I did one with Brian. I do them with Christopher a lot when he has stuff come out where we can like just really get into it and you can talk about yourself and what you've got coming and available to people. So it's just like articulated and out there. And then on top of that, I had a Facebook page for my photography business and I just switched it over to just be me. So I have like me as a page. so funny to think that. But then I was able to do that. So that could be a possibility. Of course, people will be like kind of confused, like, why am I following this person when they were following a food truck or whatever?
That's how you get them.
Yeah,
exactly. I've already like hijacked my food truck page on Facebook because I am this summer going to be offering my house as a VRBO. So I kind of switched that over there. Of course, I used the name of my food truck because it's my LLC. Right. So Peppered Cow was my food truck. So this is Peppered Cow Cottage on the peninsula, because I do live on a peninsula, and people, when they're looking to book things, it helps to have a distinctive geographical thing. Even though it's a tiny peninsula, it still qualifies. So yeah, I kind of already did that for my VRBO, but I like that idea because it can be done. And anyway, yes, Grok will help you with I've done business plans and financed restaurants and food trucks and different things in my life, but he'll help you. He'll lay it out step by step how to put together a business plan that you can take to get funding to banks and financial institutions. And he'd probably help you with a pitch if you need venture capitalism, if you're that big. But anyway, thank you again.
Yeah. Awesome, Dory. Yeah. Great stuff. And yeah, you can't always repurpose everything, but if you can, it's good, because when you build up an audience, and especially if you rebrand a page, you see that on here. Sometimes you're following an account. You're like, what is this account? And it's just someone that switched over
just do it strategically, like don't do it with the intent to trick somebody. Like, do it with good faith, obviously.
Do it with gusto.
Absolutely. All right. So thanks so much, Dory. And if no one up here if you're not following Dory yet, be sure you are. She's doing some really cool AI art, and obviously it's got a lot of exciting things coming out. So you want to be in touch with her. Next up, I have Casey Green, who we met in Famous's space a while back. So I want to say welcome. And I think we talked briefly, but I'm looking forward to getting to know you better. How are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Having a great time. This is a fun space.
Yeah, it is. So to start with, how I got on social media, I don't know, here on Twitter X, I got here when people were still sharing their meals and photos. So a long time. But last we spoke, we were looking at doing the Spaces sidecar with the video. And I've been doing that now, 3 weeks going? 4 weeks? I think 3. And it's been going pretty well, because I found out that my phone connects Bluetooth to my microphone, and so I started up the everything there, and then I hit the space and connect to Bluetooth, and then unmute the phone, and then the space can talk back into the video, and everything in the video comes into the space. It's pretty cool. As for other projects I'm working on currently, just did a pair of articles on ghost banding, and this new applet that a fellow named John Wilty came up with called Ghost X on how to install and use them, so that you can scroll through and find the posts that are most likely to get you in that more spam or likely spam or that other one that's under the spam to help get you back out of it. And that was pretty fun. And then I threw up another article about anti-daylight saving because I'm done with it. Always have been. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on. Have been worked on, and it was pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for coming by and sharing that. The idea of using spaces and live streaming and combining that, it seems like it should be easier to do, but anytime any of us try and do it, we're like, wait a minute, it's not working how we imagine. So it's a weird one, right?
It is. But I was blessed that all of my equipment is already set up for it. So it's set up so you can have a phone call. And I was like, wait, this is a phone. So it's just a phone call with extra people on it rather than just one-to-one. And it accepted it. And it just worked. So I was pleased to see that. So it works with the Zoom P4 and P8, I believe they have, as well as the Rode. Rode has a couple of them, the Videocaster and the Rodecaster.
Very cool.
They all have the Bluetooth you need.
Excellent. And I think both Christopher and Rich up here on stage, they're using their desktop on the spaces, right? Mm-hmm. And you guys have a microphone that you're using. So Christopher has a microphone and Rich has a headset, I believe.
A microphone, sure.
Okay.
And do you use audio routing or?
I have a USB audio interface, and then I plug in my condenser mic into that.
Yeah, that's what I do with my mic as well. And I've got the Bluetooth in it. I was curious about, I had an older one, the Fireface UC by Army, and one that you make virtual audio edits, and that one probably would have done it nicely, but it's a pain to get the routing set up and change it on a moment's notice. It was more for musicians with audio effects and that sort of thing.
Well, I have one from 15 years ago, and it still works. I just... I got lucky and the drivers were online, so it still works. So you might be lucky too with some of your stuff.
Yeah, this microphone was 20 years old.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Casey. Good to speak to you again. And we're going to continue around to the hands here. We got some amazing people here up on stage and some great people listening as well. Hello. Thanks for joining us. And I do want to, anyone new in the space, make sure you check out the Projectotron. We have a bingo game you can play. You can join in on that. Apparently it's a collaborative game. We're still working out the kinks on that. And then we also have a poll up there. You can chime in on the poll, leave your results and your comments down in the purple pill. And anything else you want to share, you're welcome to. You can chime in on this topic. You can also talk about what you've got coming up. If you're working on something, you need help with something, or something that you've recently completed that you're proud of, this is the place to share it, because the community, the collaboration station, yes, it's about meeting people that you can collaborate with, but you can't just go into the dark. You need to get to know people. You need to understand who they are. If there are people that you're going to vibe with, you got something in common, or maybe just they have a skill that you are definitely interested in and you need their help. This is how you make those connections, and that's what this space is all about. So you're welcome to request a mic or drop your comments below.
Can I just break in really quick here? Apparently there's a new button, or maybe I just had never noticed it up at the top. If you're on desktop, it's called Picture in Picture, and apparently I can break this out and just move it wherever I want to, and it's no longer on top of my DMs. It's amazing.
Wow, that's a cool feature. I think I do recall seeing that. I don't typically go in spaces on desktop for that very reason, because it just gets very cluttered so quickly. So that's exciting. Okay. Wow. Yes, innovation.
And it's uber glitchy. So it's got that going for it. And I don't think I can go back.
Oh yeah. If you suddenly leave, I'll be on the lookout for you to bring you back up. So
No, I'm back. I'm back. Oh, okay. It was terrible. Don't try it.
All right. Now we're going to go ahead over to Brian, who's my fellow humanist. We believe in humanity and are hopeful for the future of humanity without social media being our lifeblood and life force. So I'm excited to have someone else who maybe agrees with me on that. So Brian, welcome to the stage.
I am with you, homie. I am with you. What's up, everybody? Yeah, did you guys see that thing? Look in the chat. Look at that post. right? So this guy says, I've been thinking about IRL, in real life podcasts. Bring a few friends together. No mics, nothing is recorded. Have a free form discussion, can even have food and drinks. Has anyone tried this? Now, whether or not this is a real proposition or satire, it kind of just goes to the state of the world that we're in right now. And it's like this guy just completely discovered, hanging out with your friends, right? Like we're in a bad state if this is real. So, or even like the fact that we can all find humor in it. It's an observation on how we feel that society's going. So yeah, humanity above all else, humans before everything else. And do I need social media? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I built everything I've ever built before social media. It had nothing to do. I can honestly not point to too many direct benefits of social media with regards to, let's say, the business thing. When MySpace came out, that was kind of cool. I learned how to code for the first time. What little bit of HTML I did learn to like update my profile and stuff. When Facebook came out, that was kind of cool because it did let me connect with a lot of old friends. By the way, I saw the bingo card. Does a 1.5-year-old count as animal, hot mic animal?
I was just wondering that.
Officially, yes.
Okay, good. So because she's an absolute beast, so that counts. Yeah, we're just knocking it all down today, guys. She wants to come up apparently. So yeah, like when Facebook came out, that was kind of cool. Like everything had its little purpose, but could I do without it? 100%. And when you talk about business, yes, not to discount any of the friendships in the community and the people, like I would have never met Kate. I would have never met Dave, other people in this room. We're talking to each other from all corners of the world. It's incredible. It's dynamic and it's super interesting and we're leveraging it for what it's worth. But do we need it? I mean, I went to an event on Thursday night and I spoke really, really quickly at my friend's event. And I got 2 clients just by being there. Like that's that kind of, and I have 2 more calls next week. So it might end up being 4 total clients from literally a 30-minute in person. I only spoke for like 5 minutes. I've been, you guys know, I've been talking for longer than that here right now. I know that was my one quick point, but I've been, we've been chatting on X now. For some people, it's incredible and people are crushing it. And they're like, but I am not the digital marketer. I don't have the funnels. I don't do like, that's just not my game. So yeah, and the only reason I use it is for the humanity. I love the spaces. I love that kind of thing. And that's why I'm here. I have fun with it. I like to meet people. So, do I need it? No offense, but I don't. I love you guys, but I would rather us all try those in real life podcasts and see if we can't hang out together.
Where would you put the podcast up?
Florida. There's absolutely no reason for you guys to be anywhere else when I live on the beach in Florida. Just come on down.
That is true. That is the correct answer.
Yeah. And this is what point I wanted to make with the title is like, look, if your goal is to like skyrocket your business and stuff, it's always going to be quicker in person. Like always, you're always going to make those connections quicker. You're always going to get those relationships solidified like almost instantly. Cause like that vibe check with somebody, when you see them and see how they move, see how they talk, it's so instantaneous. And on social media, you have that barrier of like, okay, I have to interpret their text. Now I'm hearing them on spaces. They sound good, but I'm going to listen to them for a while. And it can be this like long cycle of relationship that goes on for forever. Whereas if you go to a networking event or you go to a convention or an expo or trade show and make those connections there, you're going to see how fast things can accelerate. And even if your business is social media and reaching out and connecting with people, those in-person events in that you're going to like those relationships that maybe were just kind of casual are going to just get solidified so much quicker. Yeah, you'll get clients right away for sure. If you're good at that, like if you're a terrible person, then it's not going to work. But that's probably the one requirement. You have to like at least be a little bit passionate about what you're doing. But I think everyone here is.
But Counterpoint, what if you also, I mean, I'm passionate, but what if you also never go outside?
Yeah, so you have to practice going outside, get that base tan so that you don't instantly burn when you walk to the car in the driveway.
And you can do both. There are plenty of people who do spaces while walking their dogs, or toiling in the garden or whatever. Like, you are free to do both.
See, this is a problem. I'm going to get like a half tan from just driving up into a certain place. It's going to be, on the driver's side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to I put down below the interview I did with Brian so people can learn more about his strategies specifically. And I just pinned it up above as well. So you can go to the podcast version of it. And we did it in a space, but I edited it down for a podcast. And you can go back and listen to that. And he dropped some really great things that you can do and the stuff that he did. And it is that tweet. You can just do things, and we really get into it, and the strategies he used and how he built everything, without social media. And then, but now putting it hand in hand, together, those two things, I think that's where it gets really powerful. But so I encourage everyone to go check out that episode, or at the very least go over and give the podcast a like and a follow so that we can help build that up. I'll be putting these episodes up edited as well. So you get a chance to, if you want to share, like with a friend, hey, I was on this podcast, check it out. It's recorded live on X. It's really cool. You can share that as a podcast, and it's a little bit more, I don't know, easier to share than an X link, right? But maybe it'll bring them here eventually. Everyone knows what I'm talking about there. I love X. Yeah. Brian, do you want to react to that?
Yeah, just real quick, guys. I've done, if you know anything about my story, I've done a lot of media, and I just wanted to congratulate Kate on everything that she's doing, because she's been actually crushing it. I keep calling her like a new media mogul kind of person. She hasn't quite accepted that yet, even though I keep dubbing that for her. But if you have a chance to be interviewed by her, I promise you, she's a very talented and like instinctual kind of interviewer, and she'll pull out the best in you. So if you want to get some sound bites to promote yourself in some way, see if you can't get involved with her podcast in some way and be interviewed, a segment, something like that, or a whole show, whatever it is, because she'll make you look good. Even if you're, whatever it is, she'll make you look good. So keep doing a great work, Kate. I love watching everything that you're up to.
Thanks for that, Brian. Yeah, I'm definitely instinctual, because it's funny when I talk with Christopher and I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to have guests on our shows and stuff. And he's like, oh, I have to do all this research and everything. And I'm like, no, I don't want to know anything about anybody. I might want to just know their name, that I'm pronouncing it correctly, and their general, like a couple, bullet points of what they do. Because I want to understand it from the point of view of the listener who's never met this person, and peel that onion. And I understand when it's, maybe a technology thing and you want to kind of go deep into the technology or deeper into the subjects. But, I'm interested in the person. I'm curious how things get from A to B. And if you kind of already know the stuff, for me anyway, it feels like it's easy to skip over it. So that's, definitely intuitive is the word. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a different style of interview than what I would typically do, but it definitely appeals to people.
All right. So
it's like the Joe Rogan version of that. That's what he does.
Yeah, definitely. Just kind of get into the conversation and the topics unfurl. Okay, so we're going to continue on here. I did have Coach Amber, who joined us up on stage earlier. She threw her hand up, and I had you next in order. So if you wanted to chime in and say hi and introduce yourself, I'll give you that opportunity. And then we'll get to Artist Journey and G-Lo after. So Coach Amber, nice to meet you. Would you like to take the stage for a moment and say hi?
Oh, hi. Yep. I'm just here ready to listen and learn. I was cancelled due to wokeness, so I'm rebuilding myself. Yeah, it was pretty tough. And then you get the trolls that come into your LinkedIn, contact clients. It's pretty tough. So yeah, I'm just rebuilding my whole coaching field again, but I'll be okay. It's a learning process, and I guess it eliminated people that shouldn't be in my life. I had a huge hit on finances. So yeah, I'm just here to really listen on how to build social media presence and visibility.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thanks for joining us. And, that's an interesting point that you're making there, that sometimes going all in on social media, you can have issues because if someone decides that they disagree with you and then the mob comes together, this could be a problem, right? Because now maybe everything you have is on social media, and now there's a chance of risk of getting an account suspended. So we talk about a lot in my spaces, but also other business spaces, having that diversified presence. So not just on other social media platforms, but also having, an established website with an email list, so that if something happens, you at least have those people who have signed up in your email list to connect with that way. If you have to move somewhere else or take your community somewhere else, that kind of stuff. So that's interesting. Does any of that kind of relate to what you've learned through your experience? Or
yeah, definitely. They even went into my Instagram. Basically, they were saying took a dislike. I called out puberty blockers. They were saying, "Oh, they're harmless," and I said, "Well, actually, they're not." I think you need to reframe what you're saying, because people who don't know that the effects of these puberty blockers, it's a life-changing thing that can damage people's health. So anyway, I got piled on, but the same people they mass reported Instagram and had it shut down, saying that I was unqualified. And then they told everybody I'm qualified. And then they put my profile picture up and told everybody that I was a transgender person. It was absolutely ludicrous. It's pretty crazy. And some of them still go into spaces, and this is the way the trolls work. They don't hear or see you, and then they'll start following you into spaces, and they'll tell everybody, "Oh, she's a fraud," And I said, well, and as I said to everybody, I wouldn't be allowed to use the ICF or the other accreditations if it's unlawful for me to do that. But they had also contacted me, the accreditation company, to say that the trolls had contacted them. They obviously didn't have an issue because I've done everything above board. But this happens, and it's a growing issue. We're hearing a lot of people having this within the business field. Not only myself, I've heard so many people. And sadly, I don't know what the political correct term is for Chinese whispers, but that happens where people hear a snippet of something that gets reframed to suit the narrative. And that's what's happening in a lot of cases. I home educated my daughter, and, I help people who were going through care proceedings because of education purposes and health issues. And it was reframed that my child was removed in care. This went around, "Oh, she's had a child." Yeah, never has been. She's never been removed a day from me. And it's just one thing after the other that trolls do. They don't seem to forget. It took me about 18 months of soul searching because it really affected me for 18 months. But now it's just like I just let it go over my head because I think, these people they're just not worth my energy. And if people believe them, they're not. They don't have the critical thinking to look through the evidence or ask me, well, can you clarify what the truth is and what isn't, or if you have evidence. And all I would have to do is give them the correct link, because what they do is they put a link in to the accreditation company, but they don't put my name in as it's written on the certificate. It's written totally spelled. It's written totally different. So they do that purposely, so I don't show up on the register.
Wow. So this is just a really, I just want to jump in because this is, an example.
I want to warn people, to be really careful on your and also my team, she's 19 now, digital footprint, crucial for children. And I did talk to Famous about other aspects of social media on AI and the way they do deep fake, etc. And that can be ourselves as well. So do be careful, because that's a growing issue. So I don't know how you can protect yourselves 100%. But we need to be aware that these things are going on and it is going to get worse.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that and joining us and talking about that, because, this is the kind of reality of, getting a big account, people finding you, people getting to know you and stuff, but then also the free speech element, like, the free speech that we are allowed on here, doesn't also means free speech for the people that can come after you as well. unfortunately. So, it's a very interesting conversation, and maybe that could be one we could get into more in another space, because that can go a lot of directions as far as like ways to deal with it, but that if it happens, or maybe preventative measures that we can all take to maybe avoid it, or if it's just the consequences of doing business in more controversial, hot button political topics. Sometimes we don't have really a say in what's a hot button topic, and we have an opinion on it. But it's very interesting. So thanks for sharing that, and thanks for joining us. I hope you come back. We do these spaces every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York time, and we go for about 2 hours. We also do them on Wednesday afternoons here on the East Coast at 1 p.m. So, there's a couple of different times you can pop in and continue to share your progress and how things are going with that, because I'm sure people would be interested. We're going to continue on with the hands, and thanks everyone for joining us. And I hope if you haven't yet, you've jumped on the poll up above in the Jumbotron. We've got a great poll. Maybe, like I said, the second best poll we've ever had. And Rich has the top 2, I think. And then we have the bingo card, which Christopher created, which is amazing. I love this bingo card. So cool. So you can jump on and play that. And we're going to continue around the room here. We got the artist journey up on stage. Always has some really cool stuff to share. So I'm always excited when we see Wilfred up on stage. So how you doing today? Good to see you.
Hello. How's it going, everybody? Happy Sunday. Yeah, good to hear and listen to a lot of great points and just interesting discussion here. I do have some birds that could be squeaking, so you could put that into your bingo for the live animals. So social media, it's such an interesting phrase, right? You don't need social media. I just came back from a lunch with I'm 40 now, but I just came back from a lunch with my friends I've known since junior kindergarten. So we've known each other for a majority of over 30 years. And now we all have kids. And we went to one of my best friend's mom's house, and it was really great. We ended up just staying there for 5 hours, just talking about nostalgia, what it's like growing up with kids and everything. And my 2 best friends, they don't use social media at all for the longest time that I've known. I'm the only one that knows or uses an account, several, you guys already know. And I do talk to them. I don't prod too much, but I'm always interested. So what, how come you don't have it? They're like, I just, just not interested at all. So there is that side of, I guess, humanity, and that do not use social media at all. And for us, we are probably just thinking how is that possible? I can't live with the social media, but that's something I greatly admire about them, that there's no kind of hypnotizing trends, allurement of going into it, any hijack of their cortisol levels of checking their phone first thing in the morning, which I'm kind of guilty of once in a while. And it made me think about social media and socializing with people in general. I did recently check a really great podcast the other day. It's called An AI Conversation for Everyday People. And the YouTuber is a guy named Peter Diamandis, Diamandis. And the 2 guests on it were will.i.am from Black Eyed Peas. I know, weird. And another person was his partner called Van Jones. And for people who don't even realize, will.i.am, he's actually...
Hold on. Did you say normal people?
Yes, I guess. Yes. I mean, does everyone know my humps? I don't know. But for will.i.am, we're always just associated with his music. But he's pretty deep into the AI space for several years. He already made his own app with an AI agent and everything. If you go on a deep dive with will.i.am, you'd be surprised what he's doing, especially for helping build the next wave of people, which is our youth, in using and integrating and understanding AI. And a lot of really, really amazing talking points, when we talk about the use case of social media, for example, and what's going to happen in the future. We are, at least with our community, we're pretty aware about AI agents, ChatGPTs of some kind, LLMs being used to make AI agents. And then now we're starting to see them kind of being deployed in social media, Meta AI, with them putting it, and some people, using other independent programs to kind of release AI agents now. And that, there is going to be the potential rise, obviously, of at least over 1 billion agents deployed in social media within the next few years, just because it's so easy to create them. And the more that people are going to do it, maybe these AI agents will be creating their own. And that will also potentially fill that dead internet theory. Maybe I probably mentioned before. And the dead internet theory is when the internet is just so over inundated with AI and AI agents that the human-based contribution will be less because of the over contribution of AI. And I'm just like curious, because I'm sure most of us probably, we grew up without social media, so we do understand that life. Maybe if for whatever reason that were to cut out, it'd be really hard in the beginning, because essentially we have some level of addiction to it because it's so ingrained into our daily routines. But I wonder if later on, with this multiplicity of AI agents growing and evolving, that we might be gradually be moved out of social media, because we're just deploying and letting them do most of the work. That if we do ever contribute ourselves amongst that, like who are we actually communicating with, or what more deeper reason would we want to do it with a human-based interactivity? And then maybe it might be pushed more into like real life scenarios, like we mentioned before with that meme of like meeting your friends, having dinner, no mic and whatnot, because of that type of common community sense. And for the last speaker, I really sorry to kind of hear about the ostracization of what happens when you have a very strong personal opinion, or even things that are like based on fact, and then you sharing these things, and then sometimes people kind of go against it, and then there is kind of like the horde mentality where they really push you away. And these things can be obviously very stressful and really affect the mental health, particularly the younger generations, because they're living with social media online, and the amount of stress, or I hate to go too dark into this, but the amount of like self-harm or like suicidal rates with social media in teens can be rising because of this type of public, inundation of like blocking them out, or again, just the ostracization and stuff. That we do have to teach these younger generations that social media, you don't need social media to socialize, and it's not the end all of everything. Obviously, for us, we want to be content creators of some level of respect. We want to create content, we want to create value and stuff. It's still important to impart that the human interpersonal real life relationships are supremely valuable, and they don't put too much overemphasis on the social media part, because the way how people interact online, sometimes I feel like I can tell what their age is like, and based on their interactivity with people or with myself. And it's so easy to be rude or an asshole online, just because the distance is far away, you feel less threatened, there's less interaction, and that can maybe be much more worse or exaggerated depending on our relationship with AI, how you converse, quote unquote, converse with ChatGPT or these different things. Sometimes we say thank you, sometimes we don't, but how we, kind of personify AI and how that's developing can also affect how we interact with other people just in general, because we are still using our interpersonal skill sets and ways of interacting in a human-based communication form with natural language. So, there's all these variables that are going on and stuff. And, for people who are interested, there are foundations that are trying to help with this thing. There's one called HFF, which is otherwise known as the Human Feedback Foundation. And they are more, emphasizing on the human aspect of AI and how to help contribute it. And outside of social media, with healthcare and science and all that stuff, which is really great. They've done a few functions in Toronto. Hopefully they can do a bit more, around the world. But I think, we sometimes we do kind of make those jokes about the older generations, maybe people who are like 60 or 70 above. It's so easy to deceive them with AI because, look, my grandma's going to think this kid, in Kenya just knitted this intricate, rhino sculpture out of, knitting or something. But also keep in mind that, their level of naivete can be aligned with like the youngest kids who are like using these things, and try to put that emphasis that, how we use AI is crucial, whether it's for the level of intent, whether it's for positive based contributions or for malicious intent, and what are the potential potholes of interacting that can happen, and I know we talked about deep fake, misinformation, all these things that are happening, and it's going to be much more confusing, much more intense. We already passed the age of misinformation. Maybe we're going towards disillusionment, or like, how are we able to verify and trust people? Obviously we might have decentralization, a much more way of verification with a badge or whatnot, but outside of that, human-based contribution, human-based communications is always key to everything that we do. And at least for now, having these long-form conversations is a good way to kind of help be more open-minded and more patient with things. And I'm sure we've already know with X and all that stuff, the stuff with most engagement is the thing that plays on our reptilian side of the brain that kind of just like spikes this emotional turn point that wants us to interact. But long form engaging stuff is always like an attractive thing that hopefully we can just keep nurturing and push forward for younger generations. So that's all I just kind of want to share about that. I did share in the Purple Pill, I did make a game recently just using Grok 3 and DeepSeek, just vibe coding. So if anyone's not familiar with vibe coding, it's basically you're programming a game or an app only just through conversing with LLMs. Kind of like prompting. I don't know. People are not saying prompting anymore. Maybe we were vibe coding in the beginning with AIs, but that's kind of the new term that's been coming out. So anyone's more than welcome to play. Let me know what you think. And I'm always kind of playing on that side. But there's some food for thought. Hopefully you got some value out of that, and looking forward to the rest of the combo. Thanks.
Great stuff. I wanted to throw it in. You were talking about the difference of people who were around before social media and people who were around after social media was a thing. So they've had it their whole lives. And I think I don't know if there have been studies on this kind of thing, but I think about in-group and out-group perception, which, like traditionally your in-group is your parents, your family, your friends, and then everybody else is the out-group. But I think it's possible that if a person's been on social media their entire lives, that might actually be flipped. And it's like literally everyone else is your in-group. Anybody who kind of vibes with you and is following you and you interact on a daily basis, like that you could be seeing them as your family instead of your actual family. So food for thought.
Yeah, go ahead, Rich. Did you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, no, well, that was interesting what Christopher said. I had never thought about that, but that does make sense, because those are the people that you're kind of conversing with and, I don't know, associating with more frequently. They become more familiar and almost do become family. Yeah, totally. What the artist journey was talking about, I mean, he always brings a lot of really interesting ideas and concepts and everything to the discussion. But it made me think about sort of envision a future where maybe we don't really have like a social media app that we're just scrolling through. We have like an AI agent, social media agent that we share our stories and moments and milestones with, or maybe it's just always there with us, always taking pictures and kind of recording things, and just says, "Hey, do you care if I share this with others?" And while at the same time, it's chatting with the AI social media agents of other people and seeing what they got going on in their lives, and it's kind of having a conversation with you and being like, oh, by the way, Kate was telling me that she went up to the store and she saw this crazy drunk dude like laughing at her, and it was really weird. And she took this picture. Do you want to see it? Like, where instead of like scrolling through, it's just like this conversation you're having with somebody who just knows everybody in your circle intimately and knows everything about them and what aspects of their lives would interest you. I don't know if that's maybe a dystopian Black Mirror type of future, but it made me think about that.
So what would that look like? Would that look like a pendant around your neck that you talk to?
Oh, maybe, but then isn't that kind of like there's something out there like that? Are you joking? Are you
I am, but it does sound like what you're describing.
It also
Yeah.
sounds like a Black Mirror episode. There's the episode of Nosedive. And, the stuff that you're saying is kind of how we work already with interactivity in social media. Like when you talk to someone and for whatever reason you talk about bicycles and you start to get that in your feed. There's also things with like proximity of your smartphones. Just the fact that you're talking with someone, the proximity of that will start to communicate and affect what kind of stuff that you will receive on your phone as well. So, social credit system, I don't know, it's going to get pretty murky as we go on and everything with that. So a lot of stuff to kind of don't sound there yet. Yeah, Chris, but who knows what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, I mean, there was literally a Black Mirror episode about that. I don't think they put that out there because they thought it was a great idea.
No, the whole social credit system, yeah, that's crazy because the way it absolutely ruins her life in that episode. They did it really well. That's one of my favorite episodes from that series, actually.
So that's another thing too. Like it could. What's interesting about that show, that particular episode, is because we rely so much on the validation of others in order to improve our social credit system. In that sense, is that it starts to hijack your authenticity sometimes in order to achieve a desirable state with people. And that's how you saw in that, where it's like so fake, like, oh, hey, how's it going? She's like practicing, the fakeness of that personified mask that we go. And sometimes the hardest thing is like taking those layers off. That's the most maybe popular people or artists that we enjoy, is the fact that they're able to take that off. Stand-up comedians, the most authenticity is such a rare scarcity thing that might be happening in the future. And even with AI agents, the other big thing is maybe you might have heard, like, there's a potentiality that there could be a lot of single individual multimillionaire or billionaire companies out there. And to push that even further, there are the potential in the near decade or so of autonomous AI agentic companies that are running multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar companies. So the fact that, we're doing a small step now of creating LLMs, we're creating like these small ChatGPT apps, but it will kind of grow towards creating a fully autonomous company that you can build, and then that will kind of monetize things, and then that will possibly create that momentum of like more AI agents, of like building this community and whatnot, and so forth. So that there is some other things that could be developing down the line there with that.
Yeah, and all this stuff is so interesting. I love all this stuff, and we talk about it on X. And I think just to hear, how normal it feels, like it's almost normal, right? And then, talking with Brian and what we experience in the real world, and the percentage of people that we know that in our lives that just aren't on social media whatsoever, or just maybe post a pic on Instagram once a week, that kind of interaction, how this dystopian stuff, in reality, I'm not necessarily that scared of, because if they do issue a social credit score, guess who's the people going to be affected by it? It's just going to be us. And then most of the people that we know in our lives are going to have no effect of it whatsoever. They're just
unless you have
on.
to have one. Unless you have to have an established one, like with a credit score, like not having one is worse than having a bad one, apparently. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
You mean like
No, it's a good point.
That physical product is called Friend. It's a pendant, AI pendant. It's always listening. I don't think it's out yet, but they pre-ordered it.
Yeah, I knew that's what Christopher was referring to.
So yeah, get your pre-orders in, because it's totally a real thing.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that when it first came out. We had a few good laughs about that, because the the drop of it was like so legendarily hilarious. But anyway, yeah, so the super interesting discussions there. And we've got some other great speakers here who have their hands up. I want to make sure we get to them. And we can continue on for another 30 minutes or so. I know Christopher probably has a hard out, so he might have to jump out. But we're going to go ahead over to Gilo, who I always enjoy when he pops into the spaces. He's a live streamer here on X and other platforms. So if you're interested in that kind of content, be sure you're following Gilo. And he has some amazing tips about live streaming, but also how to leverage social media. And he has some really cool posts that he did share down below in the purple pill. So worth checking out. And I'm excited to hear what Gilo has to say. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'll clarify. I am Hawaiian husband, father of four, pastor, podcaster, live streamer. I have some other job titles. For some reason, I'm like LeBron James, you know, like people call me, like, if you call LeBron James a basketball player, that's what he does, right? That's what he does for a living, but that's not who he is. So I'll say I do live streaming, but I'm not technically. I'm just kidding. You know, we're talking about, I don't know why I said that. I shot that from the hip, by the way. I'm kind of like Brian, where I was like super proficient in MySpace. And then when Facebook came along, I'm like, that's just a fad. That's not going to last. So I remember the days where you could have your own music player. And I was like, man, I know how to do HTML. I'm super smart. And everything just advanced from there. And so what I'm saying, I've been on social media long enough to know when I hear the terms, I'm taking a break from X, I really know what that means. Okay. And I don't want to offend anybody, but I know what it means. Okay. Because there's multiple facets. I'm taking a break is another word for my wife says I've been on X too much and we're not spending time together. Okay. That's number one. It also means I haven't been working, so I've been pretending to make money on X. So I got to go get a real job, go make some money and pay bills because I got the electric bill coming up next week. And guys, I'm just saying this in good fun, okay? But taking a break also means like I don't have balance, right? That's really what it means. I don't have balance. Whether you can't pay bills, you've been running a pipe dream and it just quite hasn't been working out, and I think the idea that we don't need social media, I will say we don't need the social part of it. And I'll make the case for, and I put it in the purple pill where I've been so blessed to meet a lot of people organically. And it's not a cheat code or cheat pill, if you will. But if you want to meet a lot of people through social media, just through workshops or conferences. I've been blessed to meet my business partner, and I put it up in the purple pill where I met Joey. We met in Hawaii. And then a few months later, we launched one of our products in San Francisco. The whole idea was to pitch it, and we have a team of people. And we didn't make a lot of money, but we had a lot of, there's just a lot of things we learned. And we even formed a cryptocurrency company. We had 10 people. And it was all because of social media. I never met. So I think 10 people that were on our team. We had 2 guys that just came out of boot camp and very smart kids, but I never met them. I don't even know if they wore pants when we did our meetings, to be honest with you, because we would do Zoom meetings. Like, I swear they're just wearing a nice shirt and they're wearing underwear. Because I swear, because you guys know what I'm talking about, all you remote workers. You know what I'm talking about.
It's no point to wear dress slacks.
Exactly. So, we talk about social media and the importance. I'm going to share the value of it. If you can balance it, it's great. That video that I shared, that is someone that I met on X back in 2017, or Twitter back then, right? And she was an American Idol winner. Her and her husband met. I don't want to take the credit, but they met because of me, because they both came to Hawaii. We organized a concert and a workshop for social media, and she was the headliner. We had a couple of music guests. She met her husband while we were at a restaurant because of Twitter at the time. And it's crazy how all these relationships, and I've met, and I know, I want to say 7 couples that met because of social media here on Twitter, to be very specific. Some of you guys may know Yo Pickles. I know Noble Ron. If you guys don't know Noble Ron, he knows who I'm talking about, Yo Pickles. I actually met her in Hawaii as well. We did a couple of projects together, and it was all because of social media. Now, the scary part is trying to find that balance, right? And it really is, it's a powerful tool, but the opportunities are there. But the little caveat I'll say is that even though I've met some amazing people through doing workshops and through social media. Joanne Pham, who I'll say her name publicly because she's in that video I made that I posted. She's based in LA, and she formed the world's largest women's online streaming group through this platform as well. She had over, I think, 15,000 women. And through obviously the changes of the platform, they stopped doing it. So there's a lot of great people that I've met on here. One of the things I will say is finding people that, if you can find someone that obviously shares a vision and is willing to support you. Joey, to this day, it's funny, then I'll share this story and I'll end it here. But when we first met, I was actually doing a live stream in Hawaii. He came on. Anyways, I probably said the story a million times. You guys probably heard it. So anyways, we met organically in person, and we just agreed, hey, let's build something. Let's just build it. And we didn't know what we were doing. He was just an engineer. He's great at coding and all that. And he says, I need you to talk to the people because I don't like to talk to people. So we formed a relationship we didn't even know what job titles to give each other. So I said, I tell you what, you'll be the head engineer CEO, and I'll be like the VP of marketing or something. We didn't know what it was. So we made our own titles, and we had to obviously adjust it once we did official business filings, the LLCs and all that. But it's such a blessing to be able to meet people like that on this platform. The one thing I will say that will line everything out and help you find balance is deciding if you're going to be a creator or a consumer. And I think that will determine how much time you spend being quote unquote social, or just using it for leveraging of your business. Like Kate's great, right? Christopher, they do organic stuff in real life stuff as well. And I know people always say I'm a live streamer, but honestly, our family business is really based on relationship. Everything we do is based on relationship. Whether we do counseling, my wife counsels people, you can say pastor, whatever you want to call it. We have several other businesses that are organic, that are not attached to social media. I just do live streaming because I love it. I enjoy it. I love podcasting. Podcasting is my jam. I love it. If you do a podcast with me, if you say I only have an hour, I'll say, go see somebody else, because we're going to talk for 2 hours. 3 hours is ideal for me, because I want to know you. I want to know what you got. What can I share with the world on who you are, what you do? How can we give these golden nuggets to everybody else? So, my jam is really, it's all about relationship at the end. And I know that social media, it's hard to find that fine line of social media and building balance. If you guys ever hear, if I tell you guys, hey, I'm going to take a break, I've delivered it today. You guys know why I'm taking a break. So, and it's not any of those other reasons. But anyways, that's my shooting from the hip. I appreciate you, Kate. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, you're brilliant at shooting from the hip. I'd say as good as me. I might say. And I love the little jabs you take at me. But I am shooting at the hip. I'm trying to think of, how do I know Gilo? Keep track of everybody on here. And I know you from live streaming, and then that just proves that one of the ways to connect on here is through live streaming. And I think it is a multifaceted way of making those connections and building those relationships. It's not always all through Spaces. Spaces is a great way, because it's definitely better than just in the replies or on the timeline, but that's a great way too. And then it's just combining all these things. It's so powerful. And then it makes these in real life connections that you have with people. And if you get to meet, or if you don't get to meet, but you still know that you're friends, and that if you saw this person, you would definitely hang out with them. Those are real, and it's so powerful, and you definitely utilize all that there is to offer here. So thank you for coming and sharing those little bits of wisdom with us. It was great. So yeah, it makes me just think about all the ways that we can use X, and I try to do it as much as I can, all the different ways, just to make those different connections. Because even in the chat rooms, it's like connections are built there too. It's amazing. So if you're not utilizing all these different tools that we have at our disposal, I really do encourage experimenting with the different things. If you're having trouble breaking through to your audience, I certainly did when I was just posting on the timeline. I was having a very hard time finding the right people. As soon as I started live streaming, that changed. Within a month, I was making these amazing connections, and I met Christopher and Rich. That's how I met them, through live streaming on X. And then incorporating spaces into that, now we get to have conversations because it's not just me talking at them and they responding in the chat. It's a little different dynamic. So it's very exciting experimenting with that stuff. And there's been plenty of live streams I've started and no one's jumped in the chat. It's a very lonely place. So, that's what this community is about too. If that's something you're interested in pursuing or trying or experimenting, you can come here and talk about, hey, I'm going to go live on this date, and then we'll try and be there and support you. Because it's a scary thought to just go live and know that just strangers watching and no one's saying hi in the chat room.
Yeah, like I'll totally back you up there. Like I would love to go there because I really enjoy like watching the live streams and getting there into the chat because it's not like a space like where you have to wait and put your hand up. You can just kind of just say whatever you want whenever you want, and people can reply to whomever they want whenever they want. Like it's definitely a lot more free form and I enjoy that.
You might have had a good nugget to what you said, Kate. And I don't want to just jump on a term, but what Kate said is very real, right? That's a very real emotional anxiety, like coal nugget, like dirt nugget. That's a bad nugget, right? I will encourage, like, for people that are having those apprehensions, just go live anyway, as long as you've got something to share. One of the best things you can do before you go live is say, what can I give the people as a takeaway? And so if you have a takeaway, you have your notes. This is what I'll say. If you watch me go live, I don't care if you're in the audience or not that I don't care about you. I don't care because I'm going to deliver my message regardless. Now, if someone jumps in, I'll acknowledge them. And here's what I'll say to anybody that wants to consider going live. Please, for the love of God, do not go live and don't acknowledge people. Please acknowledge people because they're taking time out of their day. Like I heard some babies earlier. I think that was Brian. Like, can you imagine if Brian jumps into your live and he says hello to you and he's got a baby, his wife is yelling at him, he's got food falling over the floor. He takes the time to tell you hello.
I would watch that live stream.
But can you imagine that nobody says hi to Brian and he just took the time to tell you hi? I've been in 5 lives this past week and nobody acknowledged me when I was in the audience. That's a big no-no. If you take my master class, I'm going to tell you, if you don't say hi to people in your live streams, you're going to lose 9,000 points. And that's just my opinion. So, go live, acknowledge if you can, but just be confident if you've got the material and just deliver it. And just remember, people will watch the replay because when I go live, Kate's probably in bed. Chris is probably like working and they'll watch it maybe tomorrow morning or 2 days later. So that's what I'll say. Just encourage anybody that wants to do what Kate was talking about. So, all right, I'll be quiet. Thank you.
No, you don't have to be quiet. It's always great stuff. And the secret is to talk about something that you know about that you could just talk to yourself like about. So I always pick a topic that maybe I'm learning or I have just learned, and I can then kind of dissect it in my own mind, get into it and talk about it and debate the different points of view on it, different thoughts, the things that come into my mind. And then hopefully someone jumps in the chat and chimes in with their thoughts and you can react to that in real time. So yeah, just picking a topic that you know about and that you could talk for, 15 minutes, 20 minutes longer. People who do spaces know that they can talk. So
Kid, I have one.
Sure, Chase. I have hands I want to get to, but yeah, jump real quick. It's okay.
All right, so it's going to take like seconds. Kate, I don't know a lot of people in here. I know Dory, so that's super cool. But I don't know a lot of people in here, but I came in because you were in here. So that says a lot, right?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I hop around to different spaces and I try to, mix it up a little bit and meet new people. So, you're in spaces I pop into from time to time, and that's how you get to know people. And then hopefully that brings others to my spaces, and then the people that follow you bring those people, and that's how you kind of grow and build a network. So if I just do my spaces in a vacuum and never go and venture into other people's spaces, I don't think that's, it's definitely a way of doing things, but it's going to be hard to grow.
I've been told to be quiet a lot, but anyway, I just wanted to say that much for you because you've been always so super cool.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Welcome. Yeah, we're actually going to be wrapping up here in about 10 minutes or so. So So, but thank you so much for joining us. I want to get to the hands because we've got Chris Gallaty up on stage. He hasn't had a chance to speak yet. And then we'll make sure we get to Brian. So Chris, how you doing tonight?
Hey, the blender's not actually on. I am just here. I saw your space and I popped in and started listening a little bit. I guess I was actually looking at some other stuff. I didn't catch the last speaker, but I'm going to skew a little bit more on the Gen X side. I actually just wrote an article, not plugging it, but it's topical about the fact that you don't actually have imposter syndrome. It's just something somebody told you. So back this up. First of all, the sampling size of the population of X is such a minuscule chunk of reality in general that trying to justify anything based on this crowd, your metrics are off. The AI crowd is an even smaller subsample of that thing. And I think the biggest thing that people don't realize is this is a really big bubble. It's a large bubble, but it's still a bubble. And I'm one of those guys that came around from before social media. I view social media as a tool. To resonate with what the last person just said, identifying as a streamer versus saying that you stream are two different things, right? How you identify yourself is important. And if that's not your identity, it's just something you do, then that's healthy, right? Partially because things change and, X could disappear tomorrow. It's just the reality of things. But I guess the thing that I see a lot here, and, again, being a parent, I'm more cognizant of it, is this is a tool. And Kate, I'm not picking on you, but because I know where you're located, but people need to get out more. I have a lot of things
Chris,
that I do.
Chris, can I say one thing? This is not a tool. It's a lure.
No, it's not. Okay, so go back and read, if for anyone who wants to get educated on some of this stuff, there's a book called Habit. I forget the gentleman who wrote it. Somebody else can chime in with that. And it points out the fact that there are certain individuals, and I know this because I had never started drinking because I know I'm a full-blooded alcoholic, but there are people out there that can smoke, they can drink, they can do whatever they want. They do not have the gene to get addicted to something, meaning the propensity to get addicted or stuck or lured into something is about you more than it is about the thing that you're getting lured to. Those people will get lured to something.
Wait, you're talking about substance. We're not talking about sound mindedness, though.
Right.
Okay.
Let's just go ahead and take him out of here. Please keep going, Chris.
Okay, I'll just say, I don't have a problem with Chase, but we're, interrupting, I guess, we keep a pretty civil room here. I know some places are more free flowing and everything. Yeah, so sorry about that, Chase. No hard feelings. Appreciate you adding to the discussion. But Chris, please finish up. Should be able to unmute now.
I got muted. Okay, multitasking here. Yeah, the point I'm making is X, like anything else, is a tool. And I think one of the first red flags that you should look at is if you have any one tool or one community in your life that you consider to be like your a priori community that you can't live without, that's a red flag right out of the bat. I mean, as somebody that's been in business a long time and a consultant, I purposely put myself in situations where I'm around people of all walks of life. I like going I just got done going to a convention where I gave a talk. I like going to flea markets and dealing with all sorts of other people. And a larger sampling size gives you a more realistic picture of reality. And I think there is a propensity on this platform to get too stuck in this bubble and assume that the people that X chooses to show you are reality, when that's really not the case. It's just a small subsample of it. And yeah, so the thing is, social media is a very powerful tool, but you have to understand why you're using it. And you have to be methodical about how you're applying it, like any other tool. You don't hear people go on and on about the fact that they really need to take a break from hammering, right? Or something like that. I get that some people fall into that trap, and mindfulness is to understand if that's you, that you probably need to take more care to, just like anything else you would, smoking or alcohol or whatever. If you're susceptible to that, you need to manage that properly. The thing that I get annoyed about, and this is a topic that Kate's had on all over the places, social media, again, being a tool, you have to know what your audience is, what you're trying to do. And we don't give the opportunity to pick where we go. LinkedIn, people always crap on LinkedIn. For my field, that's where I need to go to get at people I need to talk to. Sometimes you have to go to Facebook to find a community that you need to sell to. It's not about, there's so much bias, I think, these days about personal preference for platform, and that's not what reality dictates. You have a demographic that you need to reach. That demographic has a propensity to go to a certain platform, and if you're serious about a business or whatever you're doing, you're going to figure out where that crowd is, and that's where you're going to go. I guess that's the what I'm trying to hammer into this is I think people give too much credence to social media as like an end all be all, or it's evil or something. It's a tool. It's amoral. It's designed to do what it does. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah. And
I'm just tired of hearing about it,
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think for people, if whatever your objective is, I think that people need to figure out what is the end game here. Is it just to be like, I mingle around and have fun and shit post and get entertained and doom scroll and all that? If that's the objective of what you want to do on social media, then X is a great place to be. If you want to hang out and meet people and have that social atmosphere, I really think this is like a true like social app. Then this is a great place for it. And then there's some industries that are especially prevalent. So if you're a content creator, those specific, like the AI content has a very big presence here. So that specifically is one industry. But like you're saying, if you are, in a corporate type of environment, this might be the place to hang out, but LinkedIn is the place to like really actually live. And you'll probably like it better ultimately, for your objective, so once figuring it out, then it'll make sense. And if maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's TikTok, you have to consider all these other options. And once that's figured out, for yourself, you'll actually enjoy whatever it is that the platform that you choose. It will become the one that you enjoy the most because it's actually a good fit for what you're looking to do on there. So we're going to be wrapping up here in a few minutes. I'm going to go to Rich first, and then we'll get Brian, and then we're going to close up the space.
Yeah, I just wanted to say really quickly, if you're not on social media for business purposes and you are just here to make friends, and, this is a very small sample of reality. And so like to make these types of friends in real life, if you were to leave social media, like what's your alternative? Would it be to join a cult maybe? And I asked that because that is one of the options of the poll of the space. So please go up to the Jumbotron. We only got 3 minutes left to vote. What are you going to do if you leave social media? Check out the poll and take a vote.
Yeah, maybe we have a cult leader in being born.
I was going to apply for that position.
Oh, Dory, you'd be a great cult leader. All right, Brian, what's up?
Yo. Okay, so I was going to touch on what Gilo said about the profession versus the character, but I won't go into that because we don't have time. But if you want to talk about branding stuff, hit me up on wherever. But you mentioned earlier about the humanity and then the use case of the social media and then potentially hybrid. And when Greg started talking about meeting people through social media, I forgot that I met my wife through social media. Not really, but in a way. So I met her in real life. And then 2 years later, I had a gig in the city that she lived in, and I got snowed in. And the next day I had nothing to do. And I posted on Facebook. I was like, who's in Charlotte? Like, what's going on? It was Super Bowl Sunday. I was supposed to be going back to Vegas for a gig, and I got snowed in. And I said, who's in Charlotte? What's going on? And I posted that on Facebook. And someone said, hey, Melissa, the girl that you met from whatever, she's in Charlotte. Why don't you see what she's up to? And she was like, I texted her. She came and was like, hey, yeah, I'm hanging out. Come hang out with me and my friends for the Super Bowl. Well, she didn't say for the Super Bowl. That was my intention. She was just like, it's Sunday. And we hung out, and I haven't been able to get rid of her ever since. That was 11 years ago.
Amazing. When's the movie coming out? Like, I love that so much. It reminds me of Groundhog's Day almost because he gets snowed in that movie. Oh, that's so cool. And yeah, it's so funny how we can so easily discount social media, but then when we start to think about it, it's been like, wow, there's lots of connections I've made over the years. And back in the day, it used to be like you'd meet someone in real life, and then maybe you'd be, hey, let's be friends on Facebook or MySpace or wherever you make that connection, so that you can stay in touch really a whole lot easier than you used to be able to. That was like the real novelty of it. And it was so much fun because, yeah, you could be traveling around and you could be like, oh, I met this person and they live in Ohio, and I know I can reach out to them because I'm going to be driving through Ohio, and maybe we can like get together and get lunch or something. Like it was stuff like this. And that's what was so cool about it. And I think it still can be that way, but maybe that's been lost a little bit. So that's a great closing remark and awesome story. And, if anyone here, I'm sure most of the people here know that me and Christopher met on here, and we have like many future plans, which we're both very excited about. And yeah, so awesome. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up the space, but we have a little bit of business to attend to. So Christopher, do we know the status of the bingo card? What's the deal?
Oh my God, I forgot to scream bingo. Chase gave me 04 when he started to squabble. I forgot about it. Bingo.
You gotta take a screenshot and put it in the replies. But I think it's possible. I think everybody's got like a scrambled card, so it depends on who gets it first and who posts it first.
Well, I think I'll give it to Brian. I think that unless I'm scrolling down, does anyone have a thumbs down? You can thumbs down if you don't.
He's the first person to call it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I got to be honest. I totally don't have bingo, but I read the whole card, and when I saw the squabble thing, I was like, I wonder how I can prompt. Like, I wanted to be the one to start the squabble, and I didn't. Everybody was too nice. So then someone came in and did the squabble, and as soon as that happened, I was like, I'm just calling bingo on this.
That totally counts, 100%. I mean, I brought him down, so.
All right. Anyone's welcome to dispute that. You can reach out to me or share an actual screenshot of the bingo card completed, and we'll see. But otherwise, we'll give it to Brian. And Brian, you can post in the community on Monday anything you want, and I will pin it to the community page, and that will get a lot more reach than probably with, everyone on here. We struggle with reach. It's a great way to just get a message out. So you could do that, unless I hear from someone else. I think I'm just going to go ahead with that, and we're going to try and establish the rules for the bingo a little bit better, but you can plan on that.
Anything you want.
Yes, I'm in charge.
We're not gonna put any guardrails on that.
I don't see any mass riots going on down below. I think we've got a pretty civil group here. And speaking of, I just want to remind everyone, take a look, scroll around, scroll down, look at the listeners, look at who's around you. We've got a great crowd here today. Some amazing accounts that you should be following if you're not. So be sure to do that. Everyone up on stage here is a great follow, giving lots of good information. And, joining the community is a great way to just connect and get notified about our spaces twice a week. So join the community. You just tap on the collaboration station up on the top of the space, and that will take you there to request to join. And so you can be a part of the community, post in there, and make those connections in these spaces. All right. So I think the poll's all wrapped up, Rich. So why don't we
go to
the results?
Yes. If you leave social media, now what? So winning with most of the votes, is actually the other option. But when you look through most of the responses, most of the people say that they'll be right back, like within 5 minutes or tomorrow. So the second winning option was I crawl back within a week. So it looks like we are all here on social media forever.
Yeah, you can't escape.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely, once I get to old age, I'm going to set up some sort of bot thing that just keeps posting into eternity. It's going to be great. Like have a trust that just pays the bill to whatever automation service. Ooh, this is a good idea, actually.
Yeah, like a eternity accounts. Like after you pass, it's still shit posting forever.
Yeah, and hopefully it just collects data like from all your previous Okay, this is a business idea. Okay, I'm not going to be the first one to do it. So anyone's welcome to, who's more effective than me is welcome to steal that idea. All right. I'm just going to say thank you to everybody. I want to just remind you of a few things. We do have this space recorded and released as a podcast. So you can look on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and search for Collaboration Station, and you can listen to past episodes there. They are in edited format, so they do come up a little bit shorter, and it's a little bit easier listening than on X. And really the perk of that is if you came up and spoke in the space, you can share that podcast with a friend. And now it's not that intimidating X link, like where they get taken to X and they're like, I don't know what this is. I heard Elon's evil, all these things. So you can send them that podcast link and they can listen to it and be like, oh, wow, this is actually a really cool group of people. And I can join in this conversation. I can participate. I think that's the way to reach people off platform and bring them in and get them excited about X, because Spaces is just really, really cool. We need to
expose. And then they get to the
end
of the conversation. We're talking about X, and they're like, "We got you."
yeah, exactly. Haha, gotcha. Besides that, let's see. What's my other calls to action? Oh, we have Luma Labs as an affiliate partner, and you can follow the link pinned up above or down in the purple pill if you want to try out animating images with Luma Labs. It's a lot of fun. I'm coming out with a video tomorrow or the next day, whenever I finish it, using Luma Labs. It's going to be very cool. So it's just a really fun thing to experiment with. I saw some people, a community member, Disco Papa, who pops in here from time to time. He animated a childhood photo. You know, you can really get creative and have a fun time with it. These models are so good now. It doesn't take a ton of runs to get a good result. So you can experiment with it with the free account and possibly get some things to post. If you're looking for something to post, it's a fun thing to get creative with. So check it out and use our link so that we get a little bit of credit for that. Much appreciated. Other than that, I'm going to say good night, and I hope to see you on Wednesday or next week, same time, same place. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great night.